and thank you for joining us right here on the Sister to Sister 2.0 platform. And it is our pleasure today to bring on an incredible cast along with the lead actor and creator of this entire project. But before I do that, I want to welcome my co-host, the gorgeous Miss Aurora G. How you doing, Aurora?
Hi. I'm fine. How you guys?
Good.
Hello. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Good. I'm glad to be sitting here with you guys and talking about the people. Let's see what we got going on with you there.
Great story. So guys, we're gonna go ahead and Aurora has some great questions. We watched the movie and the movie was incredible. But Aurora, you had some really amazing questions that you wanted to start with.
Yeah, like you said, we watched it. It was good, but I want to start with the background history. Tell me about the background of it first.
Sterling Milan actually directed it. I co-wrote it along with Samuel Ryan, but the story of it came from a conversation that I actually had with my son. And, to make a long story short, I wasn't going to give him a curfew for the summertime. And he was about to be a senior at that time a couple of years ago. And before that, I was giving him 10 o'clock, but being that he was a senior and being a cool dad, I wanted to see what time he felt like he should come in. It could have been midnight or whatever. It didn't matter to me because I knew he was responsible and I knew exactly where he would be at basketball court. You know what I mean? So he kept coming home 3 nights straight at 8 o'clock. And I knew, in my mind, I thought, somebody was bothering him or whatnot. So I just asked the question, what's wrong? What's going on? Somebody bothering you? Because I thought, maybe some older heads was down there bothering him. And if so, I would have went down and had a conversation with him. But he just blatantly said, "Nah, Dad, I'm gonna just be honest with you. Me and my boys are making sure we get home before dark so we won't get killed by the cops." And and for the first time as a father, I didn't have an answer for that. And it bothered me for months. And the only way I felt like I could respond was not just to respond to him verbally, but respond to America with this art platform of writing this script and coming from it from a different perspective and being as real and truthful as possible. And the producers allow us to do that. The producers that came on board, Jeff Caligari and Stephen Garcia, and they understood that none of this could be chopped up in a Hollywood, to please them. It was to be made so we can know exactly what we have to do to survive.
Oh, okay. So who chose the actors in the film?
I chose the actors in the film. A lot of them we're friends with. Like, it's a small circle, believe it or not, everybody kind of knows everybody. Mm-hmm. And, me knowing, like I knew Nashawn was going to play his character. I knew AK was going to be the athlete. So it was kind of, I'm not going to say it was easy, but it was easier to write towards their voice when you know how they act in real life, but also how they act on camera. Mm-hmm. So I just went around and asked these certain actors, and fortunately, no one said no. No one said no to it. They all felt like, for me, I think they all felt like they had something to add to it as well. Okay. And they had something to say.
Mm-hmm. So AK, when he brought the idea to you and asked you to be in the film, what was your reaction? Did you have to read the script, or was it like, since he was your homeboy or friend, so to speak, was it just a yes, or you really needed to know what was, read the script and find out if this is something that you really wanted to be a part of?
It was a little bit of both. Of course, watching Coffey throughout the process of creating the script and him bouncing ideas on me, asking me for a little insight, and then me really watching him form it. I also fell in love with it as well as the stories were developing, because he shared to me some of his research and where he was. And then, of course, at the time, as he was writing, unfortunately, there were certain current events that he's expressing about oppression in the script that was happening in front of our eyes at the same time. So it was just like, wow. He was just like, and I was just like, we got to get this made. He always had me in mind, just like he said, for the athlete. But of course, I would have accepted any role that he saw me fitted for. So it was just a pleasure and an honor to be in the script and also learn from him at the same time, because as he's doing he's schooling me on certain historical events, you know, time points that what sparked this and what sparked that. So it was definitely a great experience as an actor, but also just to learn and, you know, absorb the knowledge from his research.
Okay. Nashawn, I'll ask you the same.
Yes.
How did you feel when he came to you with that?
I was happy because, you know, I know Coffey as a writer. I've read some of his scripts and stuff. So when he told me the subject matter, I was already in because I'm you know, I have a son also, and it's like the environment that we live in now is kind of scary being a parent.
Mm-hmm.
And to be able to address that in the art form that we love to do was a great opportunity for us, I felt. And Jen, the writing was on point, the subject matter was on point. And the fact that it was like 12 Angry Men, just Black men in a room talking, hashing things out, trying to make a way for ourselves was super poignant to me. And I was honored. I told him I'd play any of the characters because when I read, I was like, I won't play this role. I want to play this role. You know, I was ready for any of the characters because all the characters was fleshed out very well.
Oh, okay. So basically, it was more than just a film to you.
Yes, it is. I think we as Black people need to see this film, and see that these young kids need to see that there are Black men who come together and have a conversation and hash things out and figure things out for ourselves and our community.
Right.
Okay. AK, you tell me, what was the most challenging part of your character?
I would say positioning myself mentally because my character, and it's probably not fully hashed out in what you guys saw. It's later on, as you know, Coffey has other things developing for the character, but he is kind of in a transition of how to balance his sports career with activism. You know, I also felt that a little bit. So just kind of toying with that emotion. He was already on the side or leaning towards the side of activism, but now, you know, he has to think certain things are going to be jeopardized. Now he's going to be in a public eye. He's going to be developing a political voice, you know, alongside with his athletic career, his whole athletic prowess. So now balancing those emotions, you know, that was something I wanted to tap into a little bit. So that was kind of my most challenging parts for the role.
Oh, wow. So, you know, Nashawn, I have to ask you the same thing. What was your most challenging part that you portrayed?
The most challenging part was I played the professor, and he had a lot of wordy monologues and conversations that I had to get myself ready for, to be able to say it and be convincing as a professor that this is easy. It comes off the tongue. I do it every day. So there was a lot of words we had to go back and run it over and do it again. And it was challenging that way for me as an actor, which I love because you want something to push you to get better and be better. So this character kind of pushed me just to be able to do the wordsmith part of it. Just like when people play doctors and they have to learn that terminology. It was like learning the professor terminology and being able to do it effortlessly so that it seemed real.
So basically you really had to do a lot of homework for your role.
Yeah, you had to, you know, get the tongue and the lips and everything working together to get these words out and to sound, you know, real.
Okay, well, Coffey, I'm going to say to you what I thought, me watching the film, and you tell me if you disagree, if you agree with me, I'm sorry. I thought the most challenging role for you because you're not a mean person, but you're so angry and upset, you know, from what I saw. How did you do that? How do you go from being, you know, a nice guy, Coffey, to, hey, this thing, you know, you're just mad at everybody. How do you do that?
Protagonist, yeah.
I mean, I was pissed off writing it. That's just the honest to God truth. Like, for me to have to write something like that, I'm already angry about that. And, you know, like Nashawn mentioned earlier, you know, he has a son as well. And him and I can relate. Like, we don't only have to worry about ourselves when we step outside. We have to worry about our kids as well, because they're Black too, right? So
Yes.
I put all those things in one jar and just let it come out of me. And, you know, I just flipped the script to being to being this militant, and whatever came out, however it was delivered, it just, you know, just bashed out the way it did. And the way it flowed out, you know, it was the character I played was a over the top militant, and you know, I see them a lot. So I was just trying to make sure that I maintain over the top with my delivery, but also at the same time, I stayed away from those guys on set, being that, you know, we're all great friends and we're tight. I
Very
made sure I
good.
kept my distance, so I wouldn't, you know, laugh, or, you know, there was nothing playful about what we were doing. And as you can see, it relates to not just with our ancestors back in the day, but even modern day, even today as we speak, you know, with Ahmaud Arbery, and also with Mr. George Floyd, who was just murdered this morning blatantly in our eyes by the Minneapolis Police Department. So I'm still angry now. Yeah, I'm a nice guy. I was raised that way. But when it comes to Blacks getting murdered for no reason, and Blacks being in prison for no reasons, I'm upset about that. You know, I'm Black.
Yeah. That's why you feel like this needs to be a television show, so people can see it on a weekly basis, or see what's going on, and try to help the nation, correct?
Yes. I think it needs to be a TV series, limited series, simply because in this short, obviously it's a short, so we don't hit every basis of how we can help. But we, in a TV series, we can touch the things that we need to do. Like, the number one thing is to, you know, buy your community. That's a major problem. That would change a lot of things that's happening to us. But a lot of, you know, it's us that don't believe that those things are real until one of us is murdered. And then the conversation comes about. But then, you know, week or two goes by, it's back to normal again. And I'm not okay with that. So I think a TV show would keep everybody, you know, entertained weekly, depending on what network. And we just have to keep the dialogue current and real.
Indeed, indeed. If I can interject, sorry, Miss Aurora, but just to piggyback on Coffey, that a weekly show, you know, will bring, you know, constant stream of awareness, you know, especially if the show is a hit, which we feel, of course, the show will be a hit, you know, but that's one of the ways of reaching, and also, you know, spreading activism through art, or spreading awareness through art. So it will be very impactful to have a show like that as a series.
I think that people would root for these men, and as they go through the challenge of trying to implement their plan and getting it out there to the people. And I think it's important that we can see strong, Black, educated men coming together and making the community better, making, you know, feeding ourselves and taking care of ourselves and policing ourselves and doing things that we need to do for ourselves. And this would be a great example to show.
Yeah. Definitely.
What I think people need to know is more about you guys, though. Mike, you want to chime in on that and let everybody know?
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, Aurora. I want to definitely, before I do that, the film has won two awards, and I know it would be very obvious why. Best Narrative Short, that was in Newark International Film Festival, and another Best Narrative Short at the Short Film Festival. It was written impeccably. I mean, there was a lot of conversation in that room between the men that was provocative, and it made you would have to think. It doesn't matter whether you're Black or white, male or female, that conversation alone would have to make you think, what in the hell is going on? Like, if you got any humanity within yourself, you would have to listen to that conversation and go, wait a minute, something is wrong, you know, and what do I need to do about it? Whether I'm Black, white, Muslim, male, female, any walk of life, anytime that someone is just murdered for the color of their skin, that's a freaking problem. That's not how we should be living on this land. So again, kudos to the writing. And I definitely want to point out these incredible actors. There's some that are not here with us, but definitely Nishan Kears played as the professor. Kears appeared as a sketch regular on the late night with Conan O'Brien in the early 2000s before landing a recurring role in the ABC series Desperate Housewives as Khalid Applewhite. Afterwards, he guest starred in many hit series such as Entourage, The Shield, The Sopranos, and many more. Nishan, I knew I'd seen you somewhere before. And it was probably, I used to watch a lot of the Desperate Housewives stuff because I had some friends who worked on that set and a couple of other actors I knew. But great work, man,
Okay.
that you've done. And my question to you is how important or how close to home was this role in this movie to you?
This movie was close to home for me, period, because as a Black man walking around in America right now, we seem like there's a target on our back. So it's very close to home. I also have a son who's 25 years old, and he's walking around, and I'm worried about him coming home every day. And so being able to be a part of this, and this movie is kind of trying to be the solution to the problems that we have as a Black community, and to be able to do what I love to do and teach at the same time, you can't lose. So it's poignant. I wanted my kids to see it. I want my friends to see it. I think it needs to be on a bigger scale. Like we said, it needs to be a TV show that where we can really go in depth in how we can take back our communities, grow, and grow not just in numbers, but economically grow, and be able to make our money work for us.
Very good. Well, Aurora, that was my first on the acting. You've got more questions, right?
Well, I want to talk more about the people, but I would like to know, since Coffey brought it up about the killings that's going on today, or the mass killings by the police. I want to address Ahmaud and the show of African Americans, being armed in America. I want to address that a little bit, Coffey, if you can.
About being armed, you said?
Ahmaud.
Oh, Ahmaud.
Ahmaud, yeah.
I mean,
and African Americans being armed in America. I did say armed.
Yes. I mean, Ahmaud was running. It was in Georgia, and to see that happen, of course, it's another disgrace for us, right? Because we don't like seeing those things, and we already know which I mentioned earlier, that they're gonna go and they're gonna try to define this guy in the worst way possible, which they have.
Right.
But I'm a runner myself. So being that he's a Black runner and I'm a Black runner, I kind of felt like, this was my brother. Whenever a Black person gets killed, I always feel like that's my brother or sister or whatnot. But in that particular case, it could happen to any of us. And knowing that they're going to get away with it makes it that much worse. It's sad that we blatantly watching the Ku Klux Klans out in public like that, doing whatever they want to do. But if the shoe was on the opposite foot, we will be either under the jail or get murdered right there on site.
Yes. So, Nashawn, what are your thoughts on African Americans being armed in America?
I think I'm for us being armed in America.
Yes. Do you think
because
be armed?
I think we need to protect ourselves. We need to protect our households. We need to protect our communities. And the same way that white people are able to carry and protect themselves, we need to be able to have the same opportunities for ourselves, because then we're walking out there naked without anything.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't answer that question. As far as being armed, of course, I think we should be armed, but certain states have certain rules. I have a gun license. Like, I live in New York, but I'm from North Carolina. I still have my North Carolina license just so I can maintain my gun license. But whenever I'm stopped by the cops, they try their best to force me to turn my license over to New York because they immediately see that number. And then whenever they bring that number up, it shows everything that I'm legal for. So I do feel like we should be armed. But at the same time, if you're running, you're not running with a gun. It's too much weight. It's too blatant, right? It's no way. So that was, you can just literally tell that was set up. You can tell that was set up. They knew this would be the one time that this black man would not be armed with any type of weapons.
Okay, so real quick, back to about the people. Tell us about the other characters that are not here with us today.
So you have Michael Kenneth Williams, who portrays the senator. You have Dorian Missett, who portrays the preacher. You have Sterling Brim, who portrays the celebrity. You have Ebony Obsidian. Did I say that right, AK?
Obsidian.
Ebony Obsidian, who portrays the janitor. She was my Angela,
Angela Davis.
My Angela Davis, exactly, with the afro. I'm glad you caught on to that. She was my Angela Davis with a Tupac feel. That was her, that was her background. And then you have Diggy Simmons, who portrayed the college boy. And then Hishon Tafiq, who played the author.
Excellent.
So,
I want to get you.
Okay.
Okay.
I was just gonna say, like you said, you kind of asked everybody. Did they too just say, "Okay, yeah, let's do it"?
Well, yes, but Dorian Missett was probably the last one that came on board. Not probably, but was. He came on board literally like 48 hours before shooting because initially we had Hill Harper on board. And right when we was about to film, something came up where they wouldn't allow him to get out of the contract. So I got in contact with Nashon, and because I saw that Dorian was in New York with one of the actors that we had already cast, Hishon. Dorian and Hishon are like the best of friends. And thank God it's social media on the stories. I saw those two together. So I hit Nashon, and Nashon hit Dorian. And then Nashon got me and Dorian together through email. He read it. And Hishon helped us out verbally, and he came on board just like that. But everyone else read it and was like, I'm down. And with Michael Kenneth Williams, he was down from the jump the minute that I went to him, because we're mad cool. And the minute that I went to him and was like, hey, look, man, my son is that and the third. And before I finished, he was like, I'm down. Before I even told him the script, yes.
Coffey, you missed the businessman.
Oh, and the businessman, Tyler Leckley. Yes, I'm glad you said that. Tyler was the only actor that I didn't know of. And the producer, Shruti, brought him to our attention. So we was like, okay, cool. And man, when he came on set, I think AK can contest to this because the way that they had the athlete and the militant sitting side by side, that was for a reason. That was a director's choice from Sterling Milan, in case if the militant got too out of hand, the athlete could literally just knock him out. You know what I mean? So sitting back there away from the table where everyone else was at, AK and I saw what he brought to the table while they was filming, because it was the TV was right in front of us. And when he dropped that tear, I think that shit was just, it was amazing because it wasn't written in the script. It was like looking at Denzel when he dropped that tear in Glory. That's how I felt. Like, I was like, oh, wow. Like,
wow. So that must mean that there was some real emotion going on in that room. Some real true feelings.
I want to know more about the young lady that plays in the film. If AK, you want to tell me a little more about her?
Ebony Obsidian right now is a super talent, really super talent, and it's cool to watch her progression. So I believe Coffey, I don't know if you had it cast before, And I met her on I Am Homicide, actually. Very talented actress. And then we ended up collaborating on a film together. And then we really developed a really good acting relationship. So I told Coffey about her talent. I said, yo, I think you should definitely have her in a film. Because I think she also did a favor for us, and an independent project Coffey was also doing. She also came aboard and did a role for Coffey. So we were very blown away, myself and Coffey, by her talent, because she's young. But when you understand the craft of acting, and then also the craft of getting into character and finding out the nuances of a scene, of a character, like, that takes a lot of time. So for her, she kind of like had these natural instincts already. So real natural talent. So yeah, it was a pleasure, I know, to have her on the film. I'm sure you guys are going to be seeing a lot more of her in the years.
Yeah, because that little bit of time right there, I really, really enjoyed her at it. Axe Coffey, I believe, just threw me a text like, what made you guys decide on her? And I
casting her, or
everything, but now I understand.
I'm sorry, on casting her or writing that part for her?
I would say more writing the part, because it was like a room full of men, and then this woman comes in. So was that to show that you guys need us?
Yes. Like it was structured that way on purpose. Growing up with my grandparents, my grandfather and his homeboys were always just chill, talk about sports or drink beer, whatever. But whenever there was an issue in the house that needed to be addressed, he would actually speak to his homeboys about it, because he didn't want the pressure to be on his wife, which you can totally understand that. And none of them would have the answer, and I would be right there listening to, paying attention, being nosy as a kid. And my grandmother walked back and forth from the kitchen to the living room, back to her bedroom or whatnot. And when she realized they didn't come up with the answer, she would just blatantly come out and share what she thought, and that would be the answer to everything that they didn't have or didn't know. And that's the way, going into this thing, writing it, I let my co-writer know this is how we're going to structure it. And she's going to be, she's going to be the answer. She's going to be the dessert, because a lot of men, we won't admit it. We think we know it all. I know that. I'm a man, we think we know it all sometimes, but a woman always can help with whatever it is that's going on.
Well, I mean, also to piggyback, any movement historically, it was always a powerful woman behind it.
Yes.
Okay? So that's just the fact, and it's going to be that moving forward, without a doubt. It's even testament to his writing with some of the characters in the movie, how real it is. No matter how educated or informed you might claim you are, you still have traits of chauvinism. One of the characters even expressed that in the scenes, like why is she here? So I also thought that was kind of brilliance in the writing, showing very much the discrimination ourselves sometimes can do against, our agenda. So it's like, it's even deeper as a whole too, that we definitely have to be, unified. So yeah.
That is why I thought it was great, because just as you said, it was showing that women are discriminated against, but it also showed that you need the woman, especially when I guess, was it the athlete that had to go home to talk about it with his wife to see if he was actually in? It was, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so I thought that was good, because although, like you said, it was kind of like showing discrimination, it also showed we need these women. Let me go home and talk to my wife about it, because I'm not doing it without her consent. So that was, or with her blessing, without her blessing, I should say.
Blessing, yeah.
That was good.
Yeah, we definitely, I definitely had to make sure that I show love somehow, some way. And I knew it would keep, I knew people would be like, women, from a women perspective, where are we? But in the minute that she burst in that door, she let us have it.
Yes, she did. Well, before we leave, I definitely want to I'll talk a little bit also about Coffey. Coffey caught the acting bug in the 5th grade when he was a teacher. When the 5th grade, weren't a teacher in the 5th grade. Wait a minute, caught the bug in the 5th grade when his teacher, in the hopes of curbing his disruptive behavior. What's going on there, Coffey?
I wasn't a great kid.
His disruptive behavior threw him into a school play to portray a character whose antics mirrored his own. He enjoyed it. He majored in speech and drama in college, and after graduating, he moved to New York, and he was scouted by a modeling agency. That led to making inroads into the fashion world, which resulted in him being hired as a fashion editor for XXL magazine. A hallmark of his creative vision was featuring actors and directors and layouts, and forging those connections helped Coffey resurrect his acting career. It's very great, man. Very, very good. Very good.
Thank
So,
you.
again, an incredible, incredible movie. Aurora, what was your favorite part in the movie?
My favorite part was the one tear, because I just thought it had, I know it was a serious moment, but it just showed a little sexiness, as I might say. And I was like, oh, I was just taken by it, you know?
Mhm.
It was just a really moving part of it. That was my best, my best of it.
Very good. Very good. Very good.
And
Mine
you
was,
know, I have to say, for it to be such a serious film, it had humor to it. It actually made me smile too. So that's why I just thought it was just magnificent. Anything that can make you cry, smile, and have all different type of emotions in one film is a hell of a film.
mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Very good.
Did we get Nathan's best part? Nathan, what was your best part of the film? Just, just watching it. What was your best part?
Who, my best part?
Yeah, I'm just wondering what
Um,
because I'm looking at you now, and
I
I'm
think
wondering.
I think coming together in prayer and bringing God into it,
That was my
along with
best.
what else we were going through, that we still were in unison with God, even though the military took them a little time to get there. But that I think that was poignant just for us as Black people. We how we are with God, and we need to pray that we can make this work. And every character came together to pray.
Okay, that's good. Well, my last words here is to Coffey, just lighten up, because if this comes on a series, TV series, I want to see a lot of you. You, like I said, if you stay mad, I don't know how long you're going to be on there.
Thank you. Thank you. I have a question. Mike, what was your favorite part?
Wow, it was definitely I had two parts. And the part when the tear came, me, because I'm into film, my thought is there emotion going on in that room? Is the script and the acting so good that the emotion is there, like when real life takes on in a script, And I thought, oh my God, whoa, something deep just happened. And the very end, when the young lady stood up and her hands did this, I almost thought I was gonna I got emotional. Because throughout all of things in life, no matter what, you have to rely on something that's larger than you. And so that's what I went to at the end is that through all of these things that are happening in our culture with us, pandemic, everything that's going on, that someone else is bigger than me and responsible for something that's greater than me. So I'm going to be we're taken care of. I just don't know what's on the other side of the fence.
Yeah.
I don't know what's on that other side, and I don't know what God's plan is. But what I know is when she did that and opened her hands out, I was like, that just sealed this movie. I want to see more, and it was just fantastic, man. Just fantastic. And again, when you're writing scripts, and coming up with dialogue and conversation, there was so much real life conversation in that at that one table. And I kept thinking you guys were going to get up and leave and it was going to go into another scene, another room. It stayed right there and it kept going. And that was what was so fascinating to me about writing, and that's why I realized why you guys will win Best Narrative, so great job, man. It was great.
Thank you. Thank you.
It was great. And I think the more that we express who we really are as people and the issues that we go through, that America will see this and things will change. We have to tell our own story. No one can tell our story like we can. As African American people, our struggle, our experience, what we go through, it's who we are. And no one in their right mind can think that kneeling on someone's neck or strangling them to death or shooting them because they're running can be right. It's not right. That simple. So thank you guys for creating this kind of content. We need so much more of it.
But thank you guys for having us, and thanks to Nashon and AK for actually being a part of it.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for taking out your time to come here today.
Thank you for having us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, AK is over there in the sunshine. We're ready for a mojito or something. I know, right?
Well, we know where to find the films, but where can anyone else view it? Where can they view it?
Well, right now, being that it's still kind of, I know with everything going down with this pandemic, we started the film festival in July, and and you truly have that 1 year to remain in the film festival, and it's still in film festivals now. They just trying to figure out on, it's online content, so we can't stream it until the end, which is July. And then that's when we can start figuring out what platform to stream it on and whatnot.
Okay, so where can we find you guys individually?
Social media.
Yeah. Like,
social media. You can find me at.
I wanted them to say like exactly where, like what's Coffey is it at the what is your social media?
So my social media is at that THAT Coffey Boy, THATCOFFEY BOY, and the film is at About the People Film.
Excellent.
You can catch my social media IG, AK Blues with the Z, AKBLUEZ. I operate mainly from social media right now, which is IG. That's where you can find me.
And my IG is I am Nashon. So IAMNASHAWN.
Okay. Well, thank you, fellas, for joining us today with Sister to Sister 2.0. And it was a great interview, great talking to you, great watching your film, and we hope to see it on the TV show. Let's just pray for it.
Yes.
You will. You definitely will.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Everybody, thank you very much for joining us right here on the Sister to Sister 2.0 platform. Make sure you subscribe and make sure you follow also Miss Aurora G, the new host right here on Sister to Sister. Thank you guys very much for joining us. We'll see you guys next time.
Yes, sir.
Right, thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.
Okay.
Great job, guys.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you.